Hi, welcome to another edition of Photoshop for Video. I'm your host, Rich Harrington, and this week we're going to continue our lessons on making custom backgrounds. Now, those of you who joined us last week remember that we took some still images and created our own custom background, harnessing the power of blending modes. Well, the good news is that you don't have to just use still images. You can actually take moving footage, and that's what we're going to do today. Now, if I jump into Bridge here, you see I have several shots of moving video. And these were created in actual high definition. And what I did here is we put a sheet of glass down and we poured liquids over it, things like paint. We also did other things like take pieces of jewelry here and put the video up really close, the lens close, and move the light around. And you see we get all sorts of abstract things here. For example, this is actually what Windex looks like when you clean off the glass. So it was really simple. We just took a sheet of plate glass, laid it down at a slight angle, put some lights on it, and shot the camera through the back side of the glass. Then poured liquid and other objects, and that gave us these textures. Now, we've built up a whole library of these textures over time, and I find myself going to them time and time again when we want to create our own custom motion graphics. Let's see how it all comes together. I'm going to go ahead here and select a few patterns. What we have here is a simple glass with some soda in it. You see there's the bubbles. And let's go ahead here and we'll select some other layers here. And you see lots of things going on. So that works really well. And what I want to do is combine these inside of Photoshop. And let's just drag those onto the Photoshop icon. There we go. You see that opens up, and I'm going to press the F key to get out of full screen mode so I can see all the floating windows. Now, these are footage layers, so if we drag our cursor through the animation timeline, you'll see that it actually is moving video. And let's check our canvas size here for a second. Yep, it is the 960 by 720. This is the non-square pixel size used most commonly by Panasonic cameras. Let's go ahead and close that, and I'm going to make a new document and choose from our video presets. And let's go ahead and specify that we want to use DVC Pro HD, and I'll click OK. There we go. There's our new document, and we can drag our footage layers in. Let's just drag that layer across. There we go. It drops into the document. I can go ahead and grab the next one, drag it in. Let's close this once we're done. And we've got one more for good measure. Drag and drop. So we've got 3 layers here now. They're all video layers and they're stacked up in one document. Let's press F to go back to full screen, and then we'll choose File, Save, and we'll actually store this. Now it's important to note, when you save a Photoshop document with a video layer, unlike any other Photoshop document, the video is not actually embedded in the Photoshop file. Rather, to cut down on disk space, it actually links the file. So it's important, if you're working with video source materials, you keep those source materials on your computer, preferably in the same location where you originally found them. Let's go ahead and blend these together. I'm going to go ahead and select Layer 2, and with the Move tool selected, I can press Shift+. And what we're doing here is we're stepping through our blend modes and mixing these together to create a new pattern. That looks pretty good. I can drag through here if I want and see things. And at any point in time, I can click in the timeline and drag to reposition the layer and use a different part of it. I'm not so concerned about the colors here because we'll take care of that by using some other textures. That's looking pretty good. Let's take this top layer here and reposition it a little bit so it gets into the softer focus. That's looking good. We have some nice bubbles going on. Let's drag through, and we'll just move that layer, adjusting what part of it we see. Good. That looks nice. Let's do Shift+ to blend. And what we're trying to do is mix these layers together to create a newer abstract pattern. I like soft light there. That seems to do a nice job. If I press play, you'll see we have some nice organic motion going on in the image. That's working well, so let's go ahead and do exactly what we did before with the still images. Shift-click to select all our layers, and then right-click and convert it to a smart object. We'll name that Background 1. Duplicate that layer. You could do that by right-clicking or pressing Command or Control-J. I think of that as jump. And then apply a Gaussian blur to that top layer. There we go. Nice soft defocusing. We'll go ahead and set that to soft light mode to mix them together. And you see the before and after. We're getting some nice glows and highlights. Again, don't be concerned about the colors here. We're going to strip the color away and then tint this using a gradient map. The easiest way to do that is to go ahead and click and add a hue saturation adjustment layer and strip out all the color. At this point, I'm going to adjust the lightness a bit too and click OK. And if you want to punch up the contrast, this is where a levels adjustment layer can come in handy. Simply pull the black slider in to the right and the white slider in, and you'll start to get some contrast in there. Move the middle slider to tweak the gamma. There you go. Before, after. The levels adjustment just adds a little bit of punch. And that's looking pretty good. Let's grab an abstract photo. We'll switch back to bridge here, and I'm just going to grab a photo of some gears. There we go. Open that up. Select all. Copy, switch back and paste it. We'll do Command-T for free transform and Command-0 to zoom out. That's the easiest way to see what's going on. If you want to rotate this, just click on the outside edge and drag it around. Notice we could just turn those until they look like they're in the right spot. That seems pretty good. Scale down just a little. And let's blend. Move tool selected so we can use that shortcut of Shift+ to step through our blend modes. And that looks pretty nice to me. Let's just lower the opacity to 70%.